I moved into the neighborhood 10 years ago, thinking it would be the perfect place to enjoy my retirement. It's a quiet street with well-kept lawns, friendly smiles, and an unspoken agreement that everyone minds their own business. That's what I loved about it, the peace and quiet. But recently, things have been different. It started a few months ago when the house next door was sold. A young family moved in, a single mom and her teenage son. I was polite, of course, and went over to introduce myself. The mother, Clara, seemed nice enough, though a bit frazzled, probably from juggling work and raising a teenager. Her son, Alex, was polite but shy. I hardly ever saw him except when he was unloading groceries or helping his mom with yard work. Then came the music. At first it wasn't too bad. I'd hear faint notes of piano drifting through my living room in the afternoons. It was pleasant, even beautiful at times. But as the weeks went on, the music grew louder and more frequent. It wasn't just afternoons anymore. It was evenings, weekends, even the occasional Sunday morning. And it wasn't just soft melodies either. Sometimes it was loud, dramatic, and thunderous. My peaceful sanctuary no longer felt so peaceful. One Saturday evening, after an especially long day, I'd had enough. The music was blaring again, filling my living room with a storm of sound. I grabbed my phone and dialed Clara's number. I'd gotten it from the neighborhood directory when they moved in. "Hello?" she answered, sounding tired. "Hi, Clara. It's Margaret from next door," I said, trying to keep my tone polite but firm. "I'm calling about the piano. It's quite loud, and it's been going on for hours. I was hoping you could ask your son to keep it down." She sighed. "I'm so sorry, Margaret. Alex has a big recital coming up, and he's been practicing a lot. I'll talk to him about keeping it quieter." I thanked her and hung up, hoping that would be the end of it. But it wasn't. The next day, the music was back, louder than ever. My patience wore thin, and I decided to take more drastic action. I called the police. When the officers arrived, I stood on my porch, watching as they knocked on Clara's door. She answered, looking flustered and apologetic. Alex appeared behind her, his face pale and nervous. I felt a pang of guilt watching him, but I pushed it aside. Rules were rules, and everyone deserved a little peace and quiet. The officers spoke to them for a few minutes before leaving. Clara caught my eye as she closed the door, and I could see the frustration on her face. But that evening, the music stopped, and the silence felt like a victory. A week later, I was outside trimming my rose bushes when Clara walked over. She had a flyer in her hand and a determined look on her face. "Margaret," she began, "I wanted to apologize again for the noise. Alex has his recital tomorrow evening, and after that, things should calm down. But I thought you might want to see this." She handed me the flyer. It was for a charity gala at the city's concert hall. At the top in bold letters it read, "Featuring Alex Turner, award-winning pianist." Below that was a list of his accolades, national competitions, scholarships, and performances in prestigious venues. I stared at the flyer, stunned. This is your son?" Clara nodded. "He's been playing since he was 4. Music is his life. The recital tomorrow is a fundraiser for underprivileged kids who want to study music. He's been working so hard to make it perfect." I didn't know what to say. All this time, I'd thought of Alex's music as noise, an intrusion into my carefully curated quiet life. But now I realized it was so much more. It was passion, dedication, and a gift that he was sharing with the world. "I didn't realize," I said finally. "I'm sorry if I've made things harder for you." Clara smiled softly. "I understand. Music isn't for everyone, but if you're interested, we'd love for you to come to the recital. I think you'd enjoy it." The next evening, I found myself sitting in the concert hall, surrounded by strangers in elegant clothes. I almost didn't go, but something inside me felt compelled to see Alex in his element. When the lights dimmed and he walked onto the stage, I barely recognized him. Gone was the shy, gangly teenager from next door. In his place stood a confident young man, poised and ready. He sat at the grand piano, his fingers hovering over the keys. Then he began to play. The music was unlike anything I'd ever heard. It was powerful and emotional, weaving stories without words. Each note seemed to tell a tale of struggle, hope, and triumph. I felt tears prick my eyes as I listened, completely captivated. How could someone so young create something so profound? When he finished, the audience erupted into applause. I found myself standing, clapping as hard as I could. Alex looked out at the crowd, his eyes scanning until they landed on me. For a brief moment, our eyes met, and he smiled. It was a small smile, but it carried so much warmth. I felt my chest tighten with an unfamiliar mix of pride and regret. The next day, I baked a batch of cookies and brought them over to Clara and Alex. When Clara opened the door, she looked surprised but pleased. "I just wanted to say thank you," I said, handing her the plate. "The recital was incredible. Alex is truly talented." She smiled. "That means a lot, Margaret. Thank you." Alex appeared behind her, and I turned to him. "Alex, I owe you an apology. I didn't understand how special your music was. I'm sorry for calling the police. It won't happen again." He looked at me, his cheeks turning pink. "Thank you, Mrs. Henderson. That really means a lot." From that day on, the music continued. But I no longer saw it as an intrusion. Instead, I saw it as a gift. A reminder that beauty and talent can come from the most unexpected places. And every time I heard those notes floating through the air, I felt a little less alone,